Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Walking Dead episode Heads Up recap review. Spoiler heavy as always. Description: Alexandria is finally able to begin pulling itself back together, and peace is embraced between the two groups. Kinda. So, like I said, spoiler heavy, so I don't want to hear the spoiler. But guess what? Glenn's not dead. He hid under a dumpster and waited for a tin can to blow by and startle some walkers. Seriously, a fucking tin can blew by and they turned and started walking away. It's called Heads Up because Eden is not dead. She's actually in the building right next to where, what was that guy's name? Nicholas shot himself and fell on top of Glenn, and Glenn hit her. A dumpster surrounded by walkers. So she was in there the whole time and did nothing to help them. But hey, maybe she wasn't, right? Maybe she somehow got in there. It's called Heads Up because she says heads up, it drops water. It falls into something and he doesn't pick it up. She gives him another bottle of water in the building. They argue about going back home. She doesn't want to. My wife doesn't want to, blah, 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 blah. He goes... and then eventually he goes back into the building to get her. She pulls a gun and puts it at his face and says, "I don't know you." So basically Glenn kidnaps this little girl, but doesn't, because she convinces her that, hey, my wife wouldn't want me to leave you here and I don't want to leave you here. And she's like, I'm not your friend and wife's friend either. And she calls him an asshole after he puts a gun on him. And he's like, I'm the asshole, you put a gun on me. So yeah, what else happened? Nothing really. That's the main one. They're teaching Jesse's older son to shoot a gun, Carl and Rick. And Carl's kind of like, you're gonna be scared, but it's okay. And they're teaching him like how to shoot. And he wants to learn to actually shoot a gun, like he wants to target practice. Doing kid stuff pretty much, you tell a kid like, hey, here, yeah, I'll teach you to shoot a gun, but don't put bullets in it. What could we put bullets in it? Foreshadowing for the later in the episode. So, Morgan's looking for medicine at Denise's place, but he doesn't tell her why. And actually goes to talk to Rick, and he talks to Rick, Carol, and Michonne, and they have a little sit down about how he's let the people with the W's go, and how they came at Rick, and how all life is precious is bullshit, and you think you could get away with that without getting blood on your hands now. And Morgan brought up a good point that why didn't you kill me when I attacked you back in that county? And Rick's like, well, I knew you. Say what, because I saved you at the hospital? After the hospital? That kind of thing. Like, hey, you didn't kill me when I was crazy. I was going to kill you and you didn't kill me. So I know you could come back. Talking about the dude he has locked up in that room. We'll get to that later. So Maggie kept talking about a signal from Glenn. And do you remember that song, Red Balloons by Goldfinger? You and I in a little toy shop buying balloons with the money we got. Set them go at the break of dawn. Count them now one by one. If only it was green balloons, because him and Eden come across balloons and they're green, and somehow they have helium. It's the ones they were using for checkpoints. So Gigi grabs them and they have a little sit down. And he keeps calling Alexandria home, and she's like, that's not my home. And then he brings up her parents, and she's like, we don't have to talk. So she's doing that kid thing, like, I don't want to fucking talk to you. She's doing that, like, emotional teenager thing, which, hey, it's expected. So slowly, that big tower building they have that got burnt is slowly chunks of wood are falling off it. So Rick and some other guy that looked a lot like Patrick but a little fatter was helping him brace the wall where blood was leaking. Let's see, the wall's leaking, the wall's bleeding through like a rivet, so all the zombies pushed up against it, and a little trickle of blood's coming in. It's been like that for like 2 episodes. Spencer does a stupid move with like an AK on his back, and he's trying to shimmy across with the what's that thing? Grappling hook. He's trying to shimmy across the wall on a grappling hook that's slowly coming undone, and oh my god, all those zombies are below him and they're gonna eat his feet. So you remember that stupid pudding episode where Carl ate pudding and lost his shoe? Well, Spencer's trying to shimmy over the wall, and then it starts breaking, and he's hanging like this now instead of like legs crossed like you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? So then his feet are hanging and they're grabbing his feet, and Tara is with Eugene, and when the grappling hook breaks and falls, he makes a dent in the zombies, and Tara starts shooting him as Rick and the other dude and Morgan eventually come and pull him up. And Rick yells at Tara, "Hey, we already died once trying to save these people," and she does this. So asshole and fuck you is okay to put on television at 9 o'clock. Just so you know. What else happened? Spencer just says like, "Oh, I lost my shoe." And Rick's like, "What?" Gets pissed. So Jesse's oldest son goes into the supply room and gets a handful of bullets. And they show him sneaking up on Carl, and he has the gun like in his back and he pulls it out. Carl keeps walking, and you think, oh, he's gonna shoot Carl in the eye and then get killed. Mid-season finale is next episode, but so Glenn and Eden let those green balloons go, and they float, and everybody's looking and like happy Walking Dead. Everything's going great, and Maggie comes running to have a nice moment where she's like, "It's Glenn," to Rick, and he's like, "Yep." So they have that nice moment, and then boom, the tower comes crumbling down, and that's how the episode ends. So Glenn's not dead. We don't know how Rick escaped that RV situation, but hey, maybe a tin can rolled by there too, or I don't know, the leaves blew. And yeah, mid-season finale. So Carl's probably gonna get shot in the eye by Sam's older brother. Oh, also, Carol walked in on Morgan and Denise with the wolf guy, but she didn't see the wolf guy. She's like, "What do you have in that cell?" And then the tower falls. So, will the wolf guy escape? Will that guy shoot Carl? Well, who's gonna die? Mid-season finale. Somebody's gotta die, right? All the zombies are coming in through that hole. Glenn's alive. Yay, Glenn's alive. World Arrow and Sasha and Abraham show up in that propane tank and save the day. Probably. So yeah, thumbs it up, comment it up. Glenn's not dead. Get P. The show is inconsistent as hell this season. Sorry, I'm in a bad mood. I've been in a bad mood since yesterday, so I apologize for being negative. But yeah, check it out. Peace.